Life Audio.
Welcome to the Crosswalk Devotional. We're glad to have you listening with us. Today's topic is how you can always expect that God will answer your prayers by doing something awesome. We'll return with the devotional after a brief message from our sponsors.
From director Sean McNamara comes Soul on Fire, based on a true story.
They said you had no chance, but here you are.
Starring Joel Courtney, John Corbett, Stephanie Shostak, Macy McLean, with Devon Franklin and William H. Macy.
If you focus exactly on loving the life that you're living right now, and not the life that you think you could have had or should have had, that's the whole deal right there.
Soul on Fire, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. In theaters October 10th. For tickets, go to soulonfiremovie.com.
Americans have a big healthcare problem. Over 100 million U.S. citizens carry medical debt. But that's not the whole story. With health insurance, your out-of-pocket and monthly costs are way too high. You get surprise bills, denied claims, and poor customer service. That's a serious burden. As Christians, we don't have to pay for a broken system. Christian Healthcare Ministries is an alternative to health insurance at half the cost. You can enroll at any time and join a proven, faith-based solution that's both reliable and affordable. CHM isn't just help, it's financial and spiritual support when you need it most. Families across the country count on CHM to step in during their hardest moments. And it works. Stand up to health insurance with a low-cost, biblical solution. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
Pray for Something Awesome, written and read by Whitney Hopler. Lord, I have heard of your fame. I stand in awe of your deeds, Lord. Repeat them in our day. In our time, make them known. In wrath, remember mercy. Habakkuk 3:2 NIV. I'll never forget the day my mother told me that she had seen an angel. After 23 years of praying for her to come to faith in God, I had grown frustrated, wondering if God would ever answer my prayers. Mom eventually did come to believe in God, but she still struggled to believe that God would love her enough to save her. She still hadn't started a relationship with God by the time she was diagnosed with leukemia and hospitalized, fighting both the blood cancer and pneumonia in her lungs. But one night, she saw an angel appear in heavenly form and send glowing bits of energy into her chest. The next day, tests revealed that the leukemia was in remission and the pneumonia was gone. But Mom's physical healing wasn't the biggest miracle. What was even more miraculous was that God had convinced Mom he loved her personally by sending her one of his heavenly messengers to minister to her. Mom was in awe of God's deeds, and she finally placed her faith in him. The wonderful way God helped Mom showed me that God is just as willing to do miracles today as he was in earlier times. Habakkuk 3:2 reminds us that when we think about God's famous miracles, we can ask God to do something awesome in our own lives right now. When we face big problems like health struggles, broken relationships, or money worries, we pray small prayers too often. We might just ask God to help us get through the day as we deal with problems we don't expect to be solved. But Habakkuk shows us that we can pray bigger prayers. We can look back at God's mighty deeds and dare to believe he can do something awesome for us right now. God is the same God now that he has always been. He's the same God who performed all the wondrous miracles from the Bible, such as feeding thousands of people with just a few fish and loaves of bread, raising Lazarus from the dead, and opening prison doors for Paul and Silas. This same awesome God listens to your prayers today and does wonderful work in your life every day. Even when we remind ourselves that God is still powerful and merciful, Sometimes we hesitate to pray big and bold prayers because we're afraid of being disappointed. What if God doesn't answer the way we hope? But God can see what's really best in any situation. Praying like Habakkuk involves praying for God's best and truly expecting that God will answer our prayers by doing something awesome. What would happen if you began to pray for God to do something awesome in your own life? What if you prayed not just to survive, but to thrive? What if you looked beyond your circumstances to the God who is in control of them? God has unlimited power, and He uses that power for good in your life because He's good and He loves you. Instead of dreading the stressful situations in your day, you can ask, God, what awesome way will you work in my life today? Then you can pay close attention, expecting that the wonder of God's work will show up for you during every single day. Sometimes you'll experience dramatic answers to prayer, and sometimes you'll find quiet inspiration, but you'll always find God's deeds somehow when you look for them. That's something to celebrate. Intersecting faith and life. As you consider how you can expect God to do something awesome when He answers your prayers, reflect on these questions. What past awe-inspiring answers to prayer can you remember and thank God for today? In what areas of your life are you tempted to pray small, safe prayers instead of big, bold prayers? How does Habakkuk's prayer inspire you to see your current challenges differently? How can you live with the daily expectation that God will do something awesome in your life? How can you encourage other people to trust God for awe-inspiring answers to prayer in their lives? Further reading, Ephesians 3:20, Jeremiah 32:27, Mark 11:24, Psalm 77:14, Isaiah 43:19.
The Crosswalk Devotional is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review this podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.
At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than money. It's a way to support the people, causes, and community you love, because helping you put your faith into action is at the heart of what we do. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.